All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on an internship that's less about fetching coffee and more about building a career launchpad. We are going deep inside the DEVCON Jumpstart program to figure out what makes it tick. Let's do this. And we're starting with this quote because, honestly, it says everything. This isn't just about learning to code better. It's about a fundamental shift in how you see yourself. This is the promise of DEVCON Jumpstart, total transformation. So the question is, how on earth do they pull it off?
Well, first things first, you gotta understand that this whole thing is just built different. We're not talking about just checking a box to get your academic credits. No, this is about getting your hands dirty on projects that actually matter in the real world.
And listen to how they frame it. They call this internship a rigorous evaluation. They're not just looking at your skills, they're testing your character. Can they trust you? Can you communicate clearly? Are you in it for the long haul? That really sets a different kind of tone from day one, you know? But while it's tough, it's also incredibly open. I mean, just look at this list of tracks. Interns get to pick their top 2, and they can mix and match. So you could be a project manager who actually understands AI, or maybe a designer who gets blockchain. It's all about building what they call a T-shaped skill set. You go deep in one area, but you have a broad understanding of others. That makes you so much more valuable.
Okay, so how do they manage all this? How do you run high-level, creative work in a world that's mostly remote? That brings us to their secret sauce, their internal operating system. And it's all built around async-first communication. That's just a fancy way of saying less time stuck in meetings, more time actually doing the work.
And the absolute core of the system is this idea right here, proof of work. Think of it like the currency of the program. Your performance isn't about how many hours you're online, it's about the tangible stuff you produce. Every single task needs proof, a link, a document, a screenshot, before you can mark it done. Your work has to literally speak for itself.
This is the engine that keeps the whole async system running. A few times a week, every intern submits an update in this exact format. You see how it forces you to be clear and proactive? You can't just say, "Oh, I'm working on it." No, you have to say what you did, what's blocking you, and what you're doing next. It's basically a masterclass in professional accountability. And this little comparison here, it's a game changer. The traditional way, right, you wait until you're done, show your work, and then, oops, it's completely wrong. So much wasted time. But with the 30-60-90 rule, you check in early to make sure you're on the right track, then you check in again to refine it. The final review is just for polishing. It just makes so much more sense.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. A system this structured, it could feel a little cold, right? A little robotic, but it's actually built on something deeply human, mentorship, not micromanagement. Let's see how that works.
And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from Jasmine Ivy just hits the nail on the head. The system isn't there to control you. It's there to help you grow. The entire focus is on you, the person. The mentors aren't just handing out work. They're trying to connect that work to what you actually want to do with your life.
And that kind of culture, it doesn't just happen by accident. It's built on purpose. See, the goal isn't to create interns who are great at following orders. It's to build future leaders who know how to own a problem and find a solution. And to do that, you need a very clear set of principles.
So check these out, straight from their internal playbook. This is the mindset they teach. I love this one. Raise 3 solution ideas. Don't just show up with problems. Or know the why. Understand how your little task fits into the big picture. And own it. This is the big one. Don't be a task taker, be an owner. This is the blueprint for creating people who make a real impact.
Okay, so we've seen the system, we've seen the philosophy, but what does it all add up to? Let's look at the actual proof of work. Let's see what these interns are actually building. This is where it all gets real.
First up, a production-ready RAG chatbot. And we're not talking about some simple chatbot you build in a weekend tutorial. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. This is the cutting-edge AI tech that real companies are betting their futures on.
And here's why that matters. For David, who wants to be an AI engineer, this wasn't just another assignment. This was a straight line connecting his internship to his actual career goals. He was building something that was deeply, personally relevant to his future.
Next, let's talk about a project with massive visibility, the homepage for DEVCON Philippines. I mean, this is the digital front door for the biggest volunteer tech community in the entire country. The stakes don't get much more real than that.
And Ivy puts it perfectly here.
There's just a different feeling, isn't there, when you know your work is live, representing a real organization to the world. It's not some school project that gets thrown away. It feels impactful because it is impactful. And then you have this, diving headfirst into Web3 and blockchain. They're deploying something called a canister on the Internet Computer Protocol. Now, if you haven't heard of that, don't worry, you're not alone. This is the kind of stuff most university courses haven't even caught up to yet.
And that's exactly the point Humphrey makes. Getting this kind of exposure is a huge competitive advantage. While other students are building standard websites, these interns are getting their hands on the next wave of technology. It's preparing them for where the industry is going, not just where it is now.
Okay, we've seen the system, the culture, the incredible projects. So that brings us to the most important question of all. Is this for you? If you're a student out there watching this, could you actually thrive here? Let's break down what it takes.
And this is a question you really have to ask yourself, because it's not about already having all the skills when you walk in the door. It's about having the right mindset to go out and get them. So what does that mindset look like?
Well, here it is. It really boils down to these 4 things. 1. You're obsessed with actually producing results. 2. You're a proactive communicator. No one has to chase you for updates. 3. You love to learn by jumping into the deep end. And 4, maybe the most important, you have this deep-down drive to do work that actually means something. If you're nodding along to this list, then you're exactly who they're looking for. So, there you have it. We've cracked open the DEVCON Jumpstart Playbook. It's intense, for sure. It's demanding, but it's all built on a foundation of trust, communication, and a relentless focus on your growth. So the final question is really for you. You've seen the playbook. Are you ready to stop just learning and start building your own launchpad? Thanks for joining me.